Guys, I want to tell you about this anime called Dandadan that I recently watched. Honestly, it's one of the most unusual and fresh shows I've seen in a while. But I want to be real and talk not only about all the cool things but also about some downsides. Because like any anime, it has its pros and cons. First off, why did it get popular so fast? Dandadan isn't just another supernatural anime. What really stands out is the amazing balance between seriousness and humor. You watch it, and sure, the characters deal with demons and spirits, which is intense and dramatic. But almost every minute there's something funny happening, and the characters keep teasing each other. It's a very lively and natural kind of humor that helps keep things from getting too dark or boring, which you often see in similar shows. The characters are a whole other thing. They're bright and alive, not your typical anime stereotypes. Each has their own quirks and charisma. What I really liked is that they're not perfect, overly serious, or endlessly kind. They have their weaknesses and funny moments, so it feels like real people, not just heroes on a screen. Their dialogues are one of the strong points. It's like listening to friends chatting but with supernatural action thrown in. The animation is top-notch too. The fight scenes are full of energy and drive that really take your breath away. The colors are vivid and the character and background designs are stylish. It's a pleasure to watch, especially if you love dynamic action scenes. Visually, Dandadan is a show you won't get tired of. There are lots of details and great work by the artists. But of course, it's not all perfect. Here are some things I didn't like or that might put some people off. First, the humor. It's definitely cool, but not for everyone. Sometimes it gets really weird or absurd. Not all jokes land well, and if you prefer more classic or subtle humor, you might feel a bit lost or even annoyed. Sometimes it feels like the creators go overboard with gags and funny moments, which can make it hard to take the serious parts seriously. Second, the plot in the first season moves pretty slowly. Many scenes focus on everyday little things, dialogues, and the characters' inner feelings. So if you expect explosive action from the start, you might get bored. Yeah, by the middle of the season things pick up, but the first few episodes feel like nothing really important is happening. Another thing is that the anime is pretty strange and unpredictable at times. Sometimes the events unfold so unusually and illogically that it can be confusing. That's part of its charm and style. But if you prefer a clear, logical storyline with a straightforward plot, this might be tough. It's not just fighting demons. There are lots of weird twists that either you'll love or just won't get. Also, Dandadan isn't equally for everyone. If you're a fan of supernatural stuff with a comedic twist, you'll probably like it. But if you prefer darker, more serious stories with deep philosophical meanings, this might feel too light or superficial. So overall, Dandadan is an anime I'd recommend if you want something fresh and lively, with bright characters, funny humor, and cool action scenes. But be ready that it's not perfect. The humor can be weird. The plot doesn't always move fast, and sometimes it feels like there's too much crazy stuff happening. If you like anime that mix energy, laughs, and a bit of craziness, definitely give Dandadan a try. But if you're someone who prefers classic structured stories, maybe wait for more reviews after the second season or just prepare for a unique experience. Alright guys, now let's dive into the plot of Dandadan and talk about what's actually going on in the story. Plus, what's different between the first and second seasons. Because honestly, for a lot of people, the plot is what makes or breaks whether you keep watching or not. So, the first season kicks off pretty straightforwardly. We've got two main characters, a guy and a girl, both regular high school students who suddenly get caught up in the supernatural world. Sounds kind of typical, right? But here's the thing. The way it's presented is anything but typical. The first season is mostly about introducing us to the characters and the world they live in. It's not just about ghost fights or scary stuff. It's about how these two react to all the weird supernatural things happening around them, and more importantly, how they interact with each other. The dialogues between them feel supernatural, like real teens trying to make sense of all the chaos around them. Now, the pace of the plot in season 1 is kind of slow. This can be both good and bad. On the plus side, it lets us really get to know the characters, their personalities, and their quirks. You see their fears, doubts, and all those awkward teenage moments. But on the downside, some viewers might feel like not much is happening for a while and that it drags in places. If you're the type who wants non-stop action from episode 1, the first season might test your patience. But stick with it, because as you get closer to the end of the season, things start heating up big time. The stakes get higher, the supernatural threats get real, and suddenly you're hooked. Now let's talk about the second season, because that's where things really shift gears. The action level goes way up. Where in season 1 fights were more like occasional bursts, Season 2 throws you right into non-stop battles and crazy supernatural showdowns. The enemies get tougher, the challenges get bigger, and the tension is way higher. It's no longer just a mysterious world they're poking around in. Now it's a full-on fight for survival kind of deal. Another big difference is that Season 2 dives much deeper into the mythology and lore behind the supernatural elements. We learn way more about what these spirits and demons actually are, where they come from, and what drives them. The story becomes more layered and complex, with different factions, hidden motives, and interesting backstories that add real depth to the world building. So it's not just about good guys fighting bad guys anymore. It's more like navigating a complicated supernatural mess where no one is purely black or white. Also, Season 2 introduces some new characters who shake things up a lot. These newcomers bring fresh energy, new conflicts, and expand the team dynamics, which keeps the story from getting stale. Plus, these characters have their own secrets and agendas, which adds to the mystery and drama. One of the coolest things about the second season is that it's overall a bit more serious and dramatic. Don't get me wrong, the humor is still there, but it's dialed down compared to the first season. Instead, you get more moments that actually make you worry about the characters, more emotional stakes, and a heavier atmosphere. The tension builds up, and you feel like something big is always about to happen. So in terms of vibe, the first season feels like a lighthearted, fun supernatural adventure with plenty of laughs and quirky moments. The second season, meanwhile, is like a darker, more intense thriller with tons of action and a deeper storyline. If you haven't started Season 2 yet, just be ready for a faster pace, more epic fights, and a bunch of unexpected twists. And honestly, if you like Season 1, Season 2 won't disappoint. It just raises the bar and delivers way more of what made the show fun and exciting in the first place. Alright, now let's get into the final part, where I break down which season of Dandadan might be considered better, who exactly this anime is best suited for, and some fun behind-the-scenes tidbits that make the whole thing even cooler. First off, the big question, which season is better? Honestly, it really depends on your taste and what you want from the anime. The first season has this relaxed, playful vibe. It's more about getting to know the characters, their quirks, and the weird supernatural world they stumble into. The pacing is slower, which some people might find frustrating, but for others, it's a blessing. You get to really connect with the main duo and enjoy the humor, which is kinda offbeat and quirky. Not your typical slapstick, but something a bit more surreal and fresh. The first season also sets up the entire world and the rules, so it's a lot of world building. It's like the calm before the storm, and honestly, it does a great job at making you care about the characters before the big action kicks in. So if you prefer character-driven stories with lots of funny and awkward moments mixed in, the first season might feel more rewarding. Now, the second season is a different beast. It's faster, darker, and more intense. The fights get way bigger, the stakes get higher, and the story dives deeper into the lore behind all the supernatural elements. You learn a lot more about the origins and motivations of the spirits and demons, which adds layers of complexity and makes the world feel richer. Plus, the introduction of new characters shakes up the dynamic and brings fresh energy to the story. The second season also balances the humor with more serious and emotional moments. While it still has laughs, it's clear that the show is trying to build tension and drama in a way that keeps you on the edge of your seat. If you're someone who loves epic battles and a fast-moving plot, Season 2 will probably feel like a big step up. That said, I think the two seasons work best together. Watching only one season leaves you with an incomplete picture of the story and the character's development. The first season lays the foundation, and the second one builds on it in a way that's satisfying and exciting. Who is Dandadan really for? This anime is perfect if you're into supernatural stories but want something that doesn't take itself too seriously all the time. It's a great mix of comedy, action, and mystery, which means it appeals both to people who watch anime casually and to more hardcore fans who love intricate lore and character development. If you're someone who enjoys characters with real personality and humor, that's sometimes weird, sometimes absurd, and sometimes just outright silly, you'll probably love this show. The way the creators mix goofy moments with genuine emotional beats is really special. But if you're a fan of dark, gritty stories that are heavy on tragedy and philosophy, Dandadan might not be your cup of tea. It's definitely not a bleak or overly serious anime. It likes to keep things lively and unpredictable, so it's perfect for people who want an entertaining supernatural ride with some laughs thrown in. One of the coolest things about Dandadan is how it plays with the supernatural genre's usual tropes. It twists expectations, throws in weird plot turns, and doesn't always follow the rules you'd expect from a typical ghost or demon story. That unpredictability keeps things fresh and surprising, which is a huge part of its appeal. And now for some fun facts and cool behind-the-scenes info to wrap things up. The creator, Yukinobu Tatsu, is known for blending supernatural horror with quirky comedy. This unique style really shines in Dandadan and is a big reason why the anime feels so fresh compared to others in the genre. The character designs are a cool mix of retro manga influences and modern anime flair. This blend gives the show a timeless look that's both nostalgic and new. The soundtrack is fantastic. IT nails the tone perfectly, pumping you up during the action scenes and lightening the mood during the comedic or character moments. Music in Dandadan really enhances the whole experience. Fans often praise how the show balances horror and humor. It's rare to see both done well in the same anime, but Dandadan manages to pull it off without feeling uneven. Another fun tidbit is that some of the characters and supernatural creatures are inspired by Japanese folklore, but the show adds its own crazy twists, which makes it a cool mix of tradition and wild imagination. The voice actors bring tons of energy and personality to their roles, which adds a lot to the charm and makes the characters feel even more alive. So, to sum it all up, Dandadan is a wild, entertaining ride that's definitely worth watching if you want something fresh, funny, and packed with energy. Whether you prefer the chill and quirky vibe of Season 1 or the faster-paced, more intense second season, this anime has something for everyone who loves a little bit of weirdness mixed with action and heart. If you're up for a supernatural adventure that never takes itself too seriously, but still delivers on excitement and emotional moments, give Dandadan a shot. You might just find yourself hooked and eagerly waiting for whatever comes next.